I love it. End of video. Show's over. Don't forget to tip your waiter. I did my best to hold judgment on the Sinn U50 until I had it on my wrist for at least a while. When the U50 was announced in April of 2020, it actually didn't excite me much. But as more reviews got posted and more people started adding these to their collections, I got more curious. And then I got lucky. Instagram user Nicholas Baldwin messaged me and asked if I'd like to borrow the U50 for a review. Fuck yes, I would. So it's thanks to Nicholas that this video is possible. Everyone, be like Nicholas. And then, 5 seconds. 5 seconds on my wrist was all it took for me to become smitten. And being the introspective person that I am, I want to know why I like the U50 so much. Let's start from the beginning. The story of the Sinn U50 really begins with the Sinn U1. The U1 is a true tool dive watch, and it has the dimensions to match. 44mm across and nearly 15mm thick. It's a badass watch, but understandably is too big and too heavy for many wrists. Then last year, Sinn announced the release of this U50. In most ways, the U50 is like the U1 that got left in the dryer. Slimmer, smaller in every case dimension, visually the same, just shrunk down. Let's do the numbers on the U50. The U50 is 41mm across, has a 47mm length, and is only 11mm thick. Somehow I didn't believe these dimensions until I saw the watch up close for the first time. I was sure that the photos were playing tricks on me, maybe because in isolation it looks so much like its beefier U1 sibling. Hopefully seeing this U50 on my 7-inch wrist will give you the visual scale you need to grasp the dimensions. There are several variations of the U50. There's the standard version with the gray steel bezel, a standard version with a black bezel, there's a fully black version, and as of a few weeks ago, there's also a black version with a mother of pearl dial, which is not for me. And then there's this U50T. The T stands for tegamented. That's Sinn's proprietary surface hardening technology. It makes their steel pretty scratch resistant. All U50 versions have a tegamented bezel, but this U50T also has a tegamented case. And this specific example of the U50T also happens to be on Sinn's fully tegamented bracelet. If I were to buy the U50, this would be the configuration I'd go with. At $2,950, it's one of the more expensive configurations, but it's also one of the toughest, and it happens to be my preference on looks. Technical specs and looks. I think these two broad categories are why I love this watch. On the tech side, I've already explained the tegamented steel. I could take a spring bar tool directly to the bracelet and it wouldn't leave a mark. But I won't. This isn't my watch after all. The water resistance for this watch is no joke either. 500 meters. That's 200 more meters than the Omega Seamaster or the Rolex Submariner, while still being considerably thinner than both. 11mm thick and rated to 500 meters. I couldn't think of another watch like that, so I asked Instagram and found some helpful replies. The Nomos Tangente Sport is a slim 11mm, but is only water resistant to 300 meters. Only. There's another Sinn, the T1, which is 12.5mm thick but rated to 1,000 meters of water resistance. Impressive, but thicker. And the one watch that actually matches and beats the Sinn U50 is a discontinued watch from Girard-Perregaux, the Seahawk 7100, which is also rated for 500 meters and even slimmer at just 10 millimeters thick. So what the U50 has going for it is really quite rare. It's not that I need 500 meters of water resistance, even though I'm a very thorough dishwasher. It's just interesting to compare. More than anything for me, it's about noting the efforts and capabilities of the watchmaker. Inside the Sinn U50 is the Sellita SW300 movement, which, hey, that works for me. Easily serviceable, proven, and affordable. It's not going to win any awards, and it's not going to cost you a fortune to repair either. If in-house movements are important to you, for $1,000 more you can get a Tudor Black Bay 58, which wears kind of like the U50. I know that people love the Black Bay 58, and it's lovable, but I like the U50 more. The design of the U50 is very German. I'd say very Sinn, but there are other brands from Germany with similar styles. Tutema comes to mind, with their similar use of matte finishing and H-link style bracelets. The first stylistic identifier is really the bead-blasted metal. There's no brush surfaces and no polished surfaces here. The result is a watch that looks much more like a piece of machinery than a piece of jewelry. I like that. It does mean that the watch is less versatile, but it just gives owners a valid excuse to buy a dress watch too, right dear? I mean, you want your man to look nice, don't ya? The hands of the U50 are large, extremely legible, and weird. This is the only part of the U50 that I would change. I'm not too hung up on them, but if I could get a different handset, I would. Maybe something like these sword hands from the Sinn U2 line. I just don't get these. They look like something from a poorly rendered video game. Despite the obvious tool appearance of the U50, I think it looks great and wears great on different straps. The Sinn rubber is a terrific option, supple and comfy with a diver's extension in the clasp, but I think you can come up with a lot more interesting combos. And with drilled lugs that are 20mm apart, swapping straps in and out is a breeze. The U50 even comes with its own spring bar tool to help. There's no such thing as a perfect watch. There doesn't even exist a perfect dive watch. Human brains make that designation impossible. All that's possible is for us individually to say what our favorite things are, and even that is fleeting. So it's with those caveats that I tell you that this Sinn U50 is now one of my favorite dive watches. I'm not going to buy one, probably, but if I was in the market for a robust, relatively affordable diver, this would be at the top of my list. It's tough, it's a great size, and with the strap changes, it's even playful. I love it. And 5 seconds was all it took to get me there.